There's a lot to unpack here, and I don't even know if I'm gonna put any gameplay in the background for this. I think I just want to cover this and give my thoughts and opinions on this. No, I'm not gonna read everything that Asha put on X as far as his email goes, but there's a few things that I do want to cover that I think that are very important when we do look at what is going on with Xbox. Xbox basically has been managed by a bunch of incompetent people. I don't care how much you like Phil Spencer. I don't care how much you like Sarah Bond or anybody else that was under that umbrella, but whoever was calling the shots, and I don't know if it was those other two people, but whoever was calling the shots, they were some completely incompetent and terrible people at management. They really, really mess Xbox up. Shout out to Asha. She is doing the best she can to turn things around. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it seems like based on this post and what the email she sent out to her employees, it seems like that she's going to try to right the ship. And I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to go through this and I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions. So thank you for clicking on the video. Thank you for rocking with me. I really appreciate you guys. And with everything that's been going on with gaming, it made me reevaluate some things, which I will talk about at a later date. But yeah, this is something that's added on to this. So Asha basically put this out on X today, and I know a lot of people have been talking about it. This is an important email I sent to all Xbox employees at Xbox. I'm not going to go through this entire thing. I'll be here all day. So I'm just going to skim through some things that caught my eye, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on them. So basically, she said, our business is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platforms and publishing businesses. So when you look at that, she's like saying that they're not doing as good as, let's say, a Sony or Nintendo or even like Apple or any other company that does this type of thing. Not necessarily gaming, but just in, platform and publishing things. They're not doing good. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core business weakened and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. That right there, this right here, I'm gonna highlight this. Their core business weakened and they added more teams, investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. Okay, so let's just knock your head up against the wall and hope that it doesn't hurt the 19th time that you do this. That's basically what happened. They threw stuff at the wall hoping it stick, or they did the same thing and expected a different outcome. That's insanity. So that was the beginning of basically what she said what the problems are. So yeah, shout out to the last group of people who did this. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in history. That's not their fault, but this is something that has happened that worsened the issue that they had. So they had to reset Xbox. So they will reset their content portfolio. So let's see. Okay, I'm not going to go through all this, but this is right here is important. We lost 64 cents on every dollar they invested. So let's say every dollar that they put into something, they lost 64 cents. That is insane. That's like losing 66, almost like 66% of every dollar that you make. Let's think about this. You make money and every dollar that you made, 66 cents is gone. So they're basically running off 33, maybe 35, 37% of what they got. It's insane. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Now, I don't know what that necessarily means, but basically what that sounds like, it sounds like they're going to make smaller, games, or they're going to let smaller developers do some things. That's the only thing I can think about. I don't know how that's going to work. Okay. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP. So that just goes back to what I was saying about the independent creators. With their IP, catalog, and runaway for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Suna and State of Decay 3. So I guess after that, they're going to be doing their own thing. In France, Arcane Management is beginning to require consultation as its works council to review potential strategic options. So that's what they're going to be doing with that. We are also making reductions across other units, in some cases shifting investments to focus on priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Studios. None of our first public announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions. So all the games that you saw recently in the last Xbox showcase, for right now, they're going to be still being released. So that's good. As us as gamers, we're going to be all right. Um, let's see. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These two studios have increased, become platforms that are our largest monthly active players. Okay, that's cool. All right, now before I keep going, I know some people are probably thinking we're 5 minutes in. Why didn't talk about the jobs? Now I'm gonna be quite honest, and I don't want to sound callous or anything. The jobs or whatever, I honestly I don't know these people, and I hate for them to lose their job, but I'm not that attached to their jobs. I'm a gamer first, and I just want the games. I hope they fall, on their feet and get and be, well off in the long run. But I mean, if I lose my job, they're not going to bat an eye. I'll just say it like that. It just, let's be honest. And hopefully they land on their feet, but it's not as important as most people make it out to be. In my opinion, that's just me. It's like they lose their job, it sucks, but hey. Second, we will reset our platform. Let's see what they say here. Okay, our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of the generation. And let me go back for a second. It says today in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. That is insane. There is no business that should have that type of management. That is insane. That is crazy. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of the generation, even as our player base and player playtime has declined. Complexity has slowed decisions. Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm not even going to go. They're doing too much. They're doing way too much. 14 layers of management is ridiculous for any type of situation. And basically, at the end, she says, we will simplify. Thank you. You need to do that. We will reduce management layers on no more than 5, where possible 3. That may be still too much. And I'm gonna be honest, that may be, but I don't know the business. But it just seems like in any situation I've seen, when you have like 5 people that's in management, that's one thing. But when you have 5 layers of it, that's kind of crazy. But I'm not gonna get into all that. Third, we will reset how we operate. As Xbox grew our head count, we became more fragmented. Team, studios, and functions operate independently. They often operate independently and became harder to work towards shared goals and make right trade-offs and get things done. Basically, you're getting too big for yourself. And this is the thing. I'm not going to go through all of this, right? Because she's going to start thanking people for retiring and all this, and I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. 17 years for Dave McCarthy is awesome, But this is the thing. Xbox and many other companies, they just got too big for themselves. You have to downsize, you have to reset some things, you got to do some things a little bit different when you are, when you're making a business. There's ebb and flows to everything. Everything just don't go up, 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 up. Sometimes you got to go down, you got to restructure, you got to fix some things, weed out things that don't work. You're gonna do a little bit of all of that. So this is the thing that that she's gonna have to work on. And I think it can be done. It's just going to take longer than most people are like. This is a situation that's probably like over a decade in the making. This is something that was a problem ever since like the Xbox One was released back in 2013. They had this problem for a while now. This is not something that that just happened. Asha, she walked into a really messed up situation. There's a bunch of incompetent folks that was doing this, and it's crazy how it was done. Let me see if I can skim through anything else before I get out of here. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than everything we've seen before. Now, that would be cool to see. But this is the thing. You only can make it bigger based on the product that you put out there. You can't make it bigger based on the actual company itself. Things have to be larger than life, not larger by numbers. And this is something that, a lot of companies, Sony had this issue at one point. I think the only company that really hasn't done this was like Nintendo. This is why you see all these layoffs going left and right, but you see like Nintendo's like kind of like steadfast, but they got different things going on in Japan, right? So we just don't know. So they said they're investing much Xbox as we ever have. We'll invest in greater focus and greater discipline and greater clarity in all in service of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. So this is the thing. It's cool to do that, but it's going to be really tough. You're going to have to just put good products out there at the end of the day. Good products that don't cost a lot of money, because you're losing money. You're losing what, 64 cents on the dollar. It's like you gotta downsize. You gotta simplify, like she said. Now, this is something that give me cause to pause, and I'm going to probably end it here because I'm over 10 minutes. I don't want to drag you guys on all day. She said, I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertain more than 1 billion people each day and give everyone an opportunity to create and connect. They tried this already with everything is an Xbox, Game Pass, putting, Xbox everywhere. I mean, I kind of said that already, but they tried this already. You want to shoot for the moon. Don't get me wrong. You want to shoot for the moon, but at the same time, you got to be realistic. Like, I think what Xbox, not Xbox, I think Sony, they cater to like 40 or 50 million people. I think Steam does that for like 125 million people a day, probably even more than probably 140 million people a day. You're talking about more than 1 billion, ma'am. Y'all are in last place for a reason. It's not. You're gonna have to make some extremely drastic changes to make that happen. That is something that you're not gonna be able to do like that. I don't think they'll ever be able to achieve it. Let's be honest. Like I said, it's good to shoot for the stars and want to be larger than life, but you only be larger than life based on the vision, not by numbers. And this right here is it is actually a little bit more than they can chew. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. And the only way they're going to try to do this is try to put Xbox everywhere. And this is a thing that basically did them in, trying to be everything to everybody, everywhere to everybody. The main thing you could do is put out the best product possible at the best price possible, and that's not going to be easy because of how everything going with the RAM and storage stuff. It's not going to be easy to keep prices cheap, but you're going to have to cater to people in a way that we want something that is a good price. And that's basically what it's going to be. You got to have something that people want, and it has to be at a decent price. And in some cases, if it's really good, you may not need to have to drop the price that much, but it got to be affordable. But I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think. I can drag on about this all day, but I do think that this is a big task for Asha Sharma. I think this is something that she can do, but it's going to be only to the point where she's going to have to just tread water and basically try to stay above water instead of trying to be bigger than what you think it is, because there's a lot of stuff against her. You got two other companies that are basically running laps around you with this, Sony and Nintendo. Steam is basically your competition because you're putting stuff on PC as well. And then you turn around, you got the hardware crisis that's out going on right now. There's a lot going on where, to the point where I don't know if she's going to be able to pull this off. At the very least, you just got to get back in the green. So that's basically what I want to say. You guys let me know what you think. I've said enough. I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.